Renewable energy claims face tighter accounting standards in 2026. Renewable energy claims are getting harder to defend as accounting standards tighten. A large portion of corporate renewable energy claims rest on certificates that have nothing to do with when, where, or whether the clean energy was actually consumed. The accounting rules that made those claims possible are under revision. What comes next will be more expensive and more honest. When a company announces that it runs on 100% renewable energy, the claim almost always rests on renewable energy certificates, RECs, or guarantees of origin, GOOs, instruments that allow an organization to claim the environmental attributes of renewable generation that may have been produced in a different location, at a different time, by a generator that built its capacity years before the purchase was made. The certificate system was designed to expand renewable energy markets. It has also produced a disclosure environment where the connection between what a company claims and what actually happened on the grid can be vanishingly thin. Research published in Nature Climate Change found that corporate REC purchases are unlikely to lead to additional renewable energy production, and that widespread REC use by companies with science-based targets has led to an inflated estimate of emissions progress. The finding is not new, but its implications are becoming more consequential as the accounting rules that govern REC use are being revised for the first time in years. What the GHG Protocol update would actually change. The GHG Protocol, which provides the accounting rules used by most organizations for voluntary emissions reporting, is finalizing an update to its Scope 2 guidance that would represent the most significant change to corporate renewable energy accounting in over a decade. As Pexapark documented in November 2025, the proposed update would shift companies from annual matching, where a buyer can use solar certificates to claim 100% renewable electricity even for consumption occurring during non-solar hours, toward hourly matching, requiring renewable attributes to correspond to the actual hours in which the energy was consumed. The GHG Protocol plans to publish draft guidance in 2026, finalize the updated standards in 2027, and bring the new rules into effect from 2028. Existing long-term power purchase agreements, PPAs, signed before the new rules take effect, are expected to be grandfathered. That grandfathering provision matters for procurement timing. Organizations that execute credible long-term physical PPAs now may secure protection for existing accounting treatment. Those that have been relying on spot market RECs to claim renewable status have no equivalent protection. The cost implication that procurement has not fully priced in. Hourly matched, locationally credible PPAs are projected to be up to 6 times more expensive than current annual matching approaches, according to the 2026 Corporate PPA Strategy Analysis from Feigenbaum Solutions. For organizations that have built their Scope 2 strategy around low-cost unbundled certificates, this represents a fundamental recalibration, not just of reporting methodology, but of the underlying cost of the renewable energy commitment itself. The deliverability requirement embedded in the proposed update is equally significant. Claimed renewable electricity must be physically transmittable to the grid where it is consumed. Cross-border unbundled certificate strategies that have been widely used by European organizations to reduce reported Scope 2 emissions cost-effectively, buying solar or wind certificates from Southern Europe to cover consumption in Northern European markets, would no longer satisfy the stricter standard. The cost implications for organizations that built their clean energy posture on that approach are material. The spot market problem that has always been there. The deeper structural problem with REC-based renewable energy claims is one that energy analysts have understood for years, but that corporate sustainability reporting has been slow to confront. As Volts documented in October 2025, a solar plant built 10 years ago continues producing certificates that buyers can purchase to claim renewable energy today. If those purchases do not drive new generation capacity, they represent an accounting convention rather than a climate outcome. The spot market for RECs draws most of the criticism on this point. PPAs, which contract for future renewable generation, carry meaningfully different impact implications, but represent a much smaller share of corporate renewable energy procurement. The parallel problem applies to the grid itself. Research published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that corporate PPA and REC purchases can result in double counting, the same renewable generation factored into grid carbon emission reports and separately claimed by organizations holding the corresponding certificates. Companies that have publicly stated clean energy figures derived from that accounting face a disclosure credibility question when the methodology underpinning the claim is revised by the GHG Protocol. What energy and procurement leaders need to examine now. The most immediate question for facilities and energy teams is whether their current renewable energy procurement strategy would produce the same reported outcome under hourly matching and deliverability requirements. For organizations with significant REC-based Scope 2 claims, the answer is almost certainly no, and the difference will be material enough to change how investors and regulators read the company's climate progress. Understanding the gap now, while the GHG Protocol update is still in draft, is a more defensible position than discovering it in a mandatory disclosure review after the rules take effect in 2028. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites by Environment and Energy Leader. For partnership opportunities, please reach out to our team.